Time now to get the latest on the government shutdown from NBC, Alice Barr in Washington, D.C. And good morning, Alice. It seems like our long national nightmare may be almost over. Walk us through the steps in which we can expect to happen today in the U.S. House. And does Speaker Johnson have the votes?
Right. So it does appear that we're on the cusp of finally seeing a vote to get the government reopened after 43 days now, this record-setting shutdown. It does appear that Speaker Johnson is going to have enough votes, at least according to Republican leadership in the House. They're feeling confident that they're going to get there. It's going to be incredibly tight because Democratic leaders in the House have been urging their entire caucus to stick together and to vote no because of their frustrations about this bill not doing anything to address rising health care costs, extend the Affordable Care Act tax subsidies they've been looking for. In fact, the top Democrat in the House tried a last-ditch effort in a Rules Committee meeting last night to get some kind of extension of the Obamacare subsidy shoved in, and that was rejected because Republicans don't like Obamacare. They've never pretended that they did. So all that said, there's going to be a new Democrat that is going to be sworn into the House today, newly elected, and that means that only two Republican House members can defect in order for this thing still to pass without having any support from Democrats. We know one is likely to. Thomas Massie of Kentucky often is a no vote. And there was one Democrat who voted with Republicans in the House the last time they took a vote on this in September. Representative Jared Golden of Maine, conceivably, he could cross over if they needed one more to help. But right now, again, there seems to be confidence from Republican House leadership that they're going to get the votes to get this passed tonight. You know, timing, we don't exactly know, but don't expect it to be before the sun goes down. Gotcha.
All right, so it happens tonight. Once the president signs off on the plan, how fast will the wheels of government start turning again?
And that's another huge unknown. We've already heard from the airlines that they say that they cannot bounce back right immediately to full capacity. There were all these cancellations. The system is totally snarled. They're going to have to pull apart the threads to get air travel back on track, which is really important. We also know that the air traffic controllers who have been going without pay and have been so much at the heart of the holdups at the airport, and so in many ways at the heart of this entire shutdown story, they, according to the transportation secretary, will get 70% of their pay within 48 hours after the shutdown ends, but they're going to have to wait another roughly week to get the other 30%. And we don't yet know exactly how quickly the rest of the furloughed federal workers who've been going without pay, how quickly they're going to get their pay as well. And then there's the question of the SNAP low-income food assistance that has been reduced drastically and delayed for a lot of people. Those gears have to get turning again, and there's going to be a lag as well for the roughly 42 million Americans who are waiting for their full November payments still to come out.
Kind of a mess there. Any type of estimate, maybe like once it gets signed, any type of that back pay that we're talking about? Because at some point it was said that some people won't even see any back pay, right?
Yeah, that was a threat that President Trump had made at one point throughout this shutdown. But the part of the deal that those Senate moderates kind of hatched that got us to this point where finally something cleared the Senate and now is up to the House. Part of it was that they would guarantee back pay for everybody who was working without pay during the shutdown. Everybody was furloughed as well. And also it would reverse any layoffs that happened during the shutdown. There was a 2019 law that basically says that people have to be paid back just as quickly as they possibly can. It doesn't matter when your pay date actually is supposed to be. When a shutdown ends, you're just supposed to get the money out the door to those federal workers as quickly as possible.
That would be a relief for a lot of folks. Alice, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for the insight.